In the quiet hum of my Brooklyn apartment on a crisp April morning, the doorbell rang like a warning I didn't yet understand. I was Sarah Ellis, 40 years old, a forensic accountant who'd spent years unraveling corporate schemes in high-rise offices overlooking the Hudson. Numbers were my language, cold, precise, unforgiving. They never lied. Unlike people, especially family. I opened the door to find my mother, Vivian Ellis, standing there with her trademark air of entitlement. Her coat too expensive for someone on a fixed pension. Her eyes sharp as ever. She didn't wait for an invitation. She never did. "I've got something for you," she said, brushing past me into the living room. Her perfume a cloying reminder of childhood obligations. She pulled a check from her purse, a real leather one she'd probably charged to some card, and thrust it at me. $50,000. The zero stared back like a punch to the gut. "For that dream home you're always whining about," she added, her voice laced with that familiar mix of generosity and control. I froze, the paper trembling in my hand. Vivian Ellis, the woman who'd spent my entire life lamenting her empty bank account. Her social security checks barely covering essentials like her weekly salon visits. The same mother who'd guilt me into sending her money for medications while I scraped by after my divorce. This wasn't right. "Mom, where did this come from?" I asked, my voice steady but my mind racing. Her face hardened. That telltale jaw clench I'd learned to dread. "Just say thank you, Sarah. For once. Be grateful." The words slithered out like a command, echoing all those years of conditional love, dollars doled out as rewards, withheld as punishments. My sister, Rebecca, would have nodded and cashed it without question. She was the golden child, the one who still believed in Vivian's version of family unity. But I wasn't Rebecca. I folded the check carefully. "I need to know." She snatched her purse, her movements sharp, theatrical, ungrateful as always. "Rebecca understands what family means." And with that, she stormed out, leaving me alone with the impossible gift and a knot of suspicion twisting in my chest. That night, sleep evaded me like a guilty conscience. I sat at my desk, laptop glowing in the dark, the check beside me like evidence in a case I hadn't meant to open. On a hunch, I logged into the education savings account I'd set up for my daughter, Mia, my 6-year-old anchor in this chaotic world. It was our hidden fortress, built from late-night audits and freelance gigs. Every deposit a vow that she'd escape the financial quicksand I'd grown up in. The balance loaded, $28,000. It should have been $75,000. My breath caught, a slow burn igniting in my veins. Scrolling through the history, I saw the leaks, transfers out, spaced meticulously, each under $5,000 to avoid flags. The most recent, $50,000. 3 days ago. The recipient account matched the check in my hand. Rage simmered. But beneath it, the analyst in me sharpened. This wasn't accident. This was precision. And the IP logs? They pointed straight to Vivian's address in Queens. How? I'd given her my old tablet last year after her hip replacement, thinking I'd wiped it clean. But autofill memories linger. Passwords haunt like ghosts. Security questions she could answer, my childhood address, my first job. She'd burrowed in, silent as a thief in the night. The next morning, I called out from work, first time in years, and drove to the bank. Heart pounding like a drumbeat of betrayal. Irregular activity, I told the manager. My voice professional even as my hands shook signing the forms. The records poured in, device IDs matching the tablet. Logins from a phone I didn't recognize. Escalation. I parked outside Vivian's building, watching her window like a stakeout. She was out, her Thursday bridge game with Rebecca. I still had the key from her recovery. She'd forgotten to ask for it back. Inside, the place reeked of her lavender candles masking something rotten. On her table, printed statements from my account. Not hers. Notes in her looping script, Mia's fund, transfer next. An envelope, beneficiary forms. Mia's name scratched out. Rebecca's penciled in. The signature? A clumsy mimicry of mine. But the flourishes screamed Vivian. Forgery. My blood boiled. A damning flood of memories crashing in, the car Grandpa left me. Sold for family needs, my high school savings vanished for Rebecca's prom, bonds cashed for Vivian's vacations. Patterns I'd ignored. Wounds I'd bandaged with silence. But this? Stealing from Mia? This was the line. As I slipped out, photographing everything, I heard their laughter, Vivian and Rebecca returning with shopping bags. Real brands this time. Funded by my silence. Back home, I spread the evidence like a war map. $75,000 gone over 16 months. Forged papers. IP trails. This wasn't theft, it was invasion. A mother's love twisted into control. Rebecca's involvement stung deepest, my sister, who'd always sided with Vivian, now complicit in robbing her niece. I needed a specialist, a lawyer versed in familial financial predation. Elena Vasquez, based in Manhattan, took my call. This is textbook exploitation, she said, reviewing my files. We'll start civil. Leverage criminal. That night, Vivian texted, cashed the check yet? Rebecca says you're being difficult. I didn't reply. Let the silence build. A weapon she'd taught me unwittingly. Memories flooded, her lessons in loyalty. How money proved devotion. But now, those lessons armed me. I'd document. Expose. Reclaim. The price of her betrayal? Everything she'd built on lies. The confrontation brewed slow. Tension coiling like a spring. Elena filed the initial dispute with the bank. Freezing accounts. Vivian called at midnight. Voice laced with faux hurt. What have you done? The bank's questioning me. I kept calm. I told them the truth you stole from Mia. Silence. Then venom. After all I've sacrificed? You'd accuse your own mother. You forged my name. Involved Rebecca. Another pause. No proof. I'm just a poor widow. But I had it all, screenshots. Logs. Photos. See you in court. I blocked her. Changed locks. Fortified my digital walls. Therapy sessions started then. Unearthing the psychological scars, the constant guilt, the eroded trust. Why had I stayed silent so long? Fear of losing family, the cultural weight of honoring elders, even when they devoured you. But Mia's innocent questions, why does Grandma always need money, fueled my resolve. This revenge wasn't vengeance, it was surgery. Cutting out the rot. Rebecca's voicemail came at dawn. Sarah. Mom's hysterical. Her accounts are locked. Fix this. I ignored it. Focusing on Elena's asset trace. Vivian, the eternal victim, had squirreled away $35,000 in hidden CDs. Stocks from Dad's old policy she'd forgotten. Not broke. Just greedy. The meeting Elena arranged was in her office. Neutral ground turned battlefield. Vivian arrived with Rebecca and their lawyer, a slick estate guy named Harlan. She played frail. Dabbing eyes. This is a misunderstanding. Elena laid out the evidence. Theft. Fraud. Conspiracy. Vivian's facade cracked when I mentioned the forgery. Helping family, she snapped. Rebecca fidgeted. Then burst. Mom said it was temporary. That Sarah owed us. Owed? For what? Enduring years of favoritism. The room thickened with unspoken hurts. Rebecca's blind loyalty. Bought with stolen scraps. You helped her rob your niece, I said. Voice breaking not from weakness, but from the raw ache of sisterly betrayal. Vivian exploded. You've always hoarded everything success. Money while we struggled. Elena intervened. Admit it. Or face charges. They left fuming. But the seed of doubt sprouted in Rebecca's eyes. The fallout rippled outward. Family whispers turning to shouts. Aunts texted condemnations. How could you sue your mother? Cousins ghosted. But some shared secrets, Vivian's loans never repaid. Manipulations spanning decades. Therapy dug deeper. My silence had enabled her. A cultural trap of filial duty masking abuse. Mia noticed the strain. Mommy. Why are you sad? I held her close. Grown-up stuff. But I'm fighting for us. The mediation loomed. A courtroom annex heavy with finality. Judge Ramirez reviewed the pile, IPs. Forgeries. Rebecca's statement, she'd flipped for leniency. Exposing more thefts, even from her own inheritance. Vivian's lawyer begged, family matter. But the judge saw through. This is exploitation. Terms, full repayment plus interest. Confession. No contact order. Vivian signed. Spitting fury. Happy now? You've ruined us. You ruined trust, I countered. Rebecca wept. I didn't see it. Outside. She begged forgiveness. Not yet, I said. But start by healing yourself. Payments trickled in $20,000 first. From liquidated assets. Vivian sold heirlooms. Her facade of wealth crumbling. Rebecca called. She's broken. Sarah. Therapy says she's a narcissist, control through money. And you enabled it. But our coffees began. Tentative bridges over shared scars. The final check arrived hand-delivered by Vivian. Her eyes hollow. You've won. This was never a game. She left. But a month later. A card. $50 for Mia. Just say thank you. Violation. I documented. But let it slide for now. The case closed. Funds restored. Mia's future secure. But the cost? Shattered illusions of family. Therapy bills for the trauma. Nights haunted by what if I'd stayed silent. Revenge tasted bitter, necessary. But scarring. Mia's laughter healed some wounds, Mommy. College sounds fun. I smiled. Boundaries firm. The price of choice, freedom. At last. From the chains of betrayal.